is his second year with us. He was speaking for us last year and did so well and got great reviews that we brought him back. And Tom is in his fourth generation small business owner. He has over 30 years of being in business with his family operation. I believe it was started in Berkeley.
General store, 1924.
Okay. So he has a website called Profit Plus Solutions.
ProfitsPlus.org, bottom corner of the screen.
Okay. And it's a wealth of information. I go on there, and I learned so much from him in looking at that. So he's authored over 12 books for small business management, and we're excited to have him here with us today. And Tom did.
Thanks, sir. So yeah, I'm kind of proud of the website. It's the largest website that exists for retailers. There's well over 1,000 pages on it. There's nothing for sale on it, okay? And even when you go to the site, there's not that little thing across the bottom that says something about cookies, do you accept or not? Look, the only cookies I know are Girl Scout Thin Mints, okay? Don't know what they do on the website. We have, I'll show you a couple this morning, calculators. I think businesses should make decisions with solid information. A couple of calculators I created because of people who were speakers at events, told folks how to go home and do something, and lo and behold, they went home and did it and found out they were losing money. And I said, the concept was right, but you can't listen to anyone who's going to speak in front of a group of people and have me say anything that's like, that's absolutely the number, that's absolutely the way. You have to interpret everything for your business uniquely. So all these calculators I built, you can go up and use them. You punch in your own numbers, nothing's tracked. We don't use Google Analytics. Do your math, get the answer to your question. When you leave the page, everything disappears. It's that kind of secure. So, that being said, why do I get invited back? Because I'm one of you. I grew up in business. That's all I've ever known is to be a retailer. If my great-grandfather were alive, we would be planning the 100th anniversary of our family store in Fort Smith, Arkansas, which he started because he worked for a man who had a store across the street. Tell me if this story doesn't ring true. Remember, it's 100 years old. He worked for a man across the street who had a general store, and he told the man, gas pumps. Let's put a gas pump in. Cars are going to hang on. Let's have gas pumps. Then when people stop to get gas, they'll get out of the car, because they're not air conditioned, and they will come in and they'll buy something while we're selling gas. This is a great combination. And the guy said no. In secret, my great-grandfather bought the piece of land literally across the street. Put his own up, was building it, and as my great-uncle would tell me, he said, oh, I remember Daddy would take and be watching the building going up. He's standing in this man's store working, he's watching the building go up. And the guy would say, I wonder what they're building there across the street. He says, Daddy needed a job. He said, so he would just go, yeah, I wonder what that is they are building across the street. And finally one day he says, Daddy walked in and said, hand in my notice, I'm going to leave. Well, where are you going? Well, funny you would ask. There's going to be a sign that goes up across the street, and it's going to say, G.W. Brown's 3-in-1. Convenience, groceries, gasoline. And when I am at home, I have never found anyone who ever remembers the store the man worked in. Never did it. No, it's like it never existed. Can't find pictures, can't find knows his family or anything. It's just like he has disappeared. But when I moved back home, it was always, oh, well, welcome. You know, you love living here. And I go, this is home. I was born here. Well, who's your family? My great-grandparents had a really great plan. 5 sons. My grandfather's the one who stayed in this one. One of my great-uncles went 17 blocks down the street, opened his own store. Wonder how Thanksgiving dinners went with the family at that point. Competition. But my grandfather was Buster Brown. Okay, now those of you who bought Buster Brown shoes, we're not the shoe manufacturer. That's a story made up about, it was a cartoon character, drawn by Richard Alcott. My grandfather was the human being, the real human being named Buster Brown. When I go home, they go, oh yeah, I always traded with your grandfather. And I remember some of you old enough to remember my great-grandfather just before he passed. So this is how I speak to you. I'm one of you. We're all in the same game together. My point for this morning, what am I looking at here? I want you to look at the idea of where we were several years ago. What was your place like in 2019? And what's it like today? What's the difference? It was a great experience. I'm not saying great like, wow, that was fun, but it was a major experience when we went through the aspect of having COVID. It's not the first thing that we've experienced. So I made a track of some 1950s. Cars, the suburbs, strip centers, that caused people to take and begin to have yards because we weren't all living in town. Once cars became affordable. Mass merchants, in the 1960s, I'm not that far from where Sam Walton opened the first store. My dad's home was St. Louis. I remember riding in the car one Friday night. Greatest mistake I ever made in my life. Ready? We went up there to Bentonville and he says, I want to go and see this man. He's opened this new store. And I stayed in the car and slept in the back seat. Mm-hmm. Sam has a daughter. I could have turned on the charm. Even though she is from Arkansas, Alice Walton is the richest person in the state of Texas. Yeah, we're talking a lot of charm. Okay? These two. When my great-grandfather was in business, and some of us will remember, a person would come to the store, they'd ask for something, and say, we don't have it. And on the end of counters, you had what we called want books. You remember want books? And they'd write it down and say, the salesman will be here on Thursday, the order will be here on Monday, so I'll have it ready for you Monday afternoon. And we were all happy with that, except the internet said, no, we're going to change it. FedEx, created in 1971 as a class experiment in Little Rock, Arkansas. What did that change us? Just an expression, when it absolutely positively has to be there overnight. It's like the internet. There was an urgency. If you don't have it, I go looking someplace else. 9/11, they told us things will never be the same again. That proved to be very wrong. The Great Recession, okay, now that bit. That did hurt. Okay? And supposedly we now have new lending practices established that we're not going to have that situation again of people walking in and buying $2 million homes with $20 down. Apparently we've tightened it up now. But this is what we're talking about today. What's happened? What's happened to your business individually? And what do you see what you can do out there? So, I will ask you this question. We all had a lot of business that shut up because of COVID. Because a lot of the distractions that people had went away. You couldn't do things, so you stayed home. And I don't know how they did it. I just say they've got great lobbyists with the liquor store industry. How in the world liquor stores got declared essential is beyond me. No argument against them. But as an industry, they were at 54%. 54%. Wow. I want that lobbyist. And so I hear people saying, business is getting back to normal. Well, what's normal? Well, like 2019. Why? Why are we looking at it that way? Or a friend of mine in New England area. It was great, and we were riding the wave. So we're seeing COVID as a wave that came and it hits the shore and eventually crashes and it's over with. Why do people I know say these things? Why do we say these things like it came and went and it was like, wow, I don't wish COVID on anybody, but I sure wish we had that business that came. And the pandemic has now become an endemic. Okay? It happens. Someone gets it. People who work around them, they all go home. They stay home for 3 or 4 days. They come back, and there's nothing else to follow. It just came and went. That's all there is to it. But with what you made money-wise during the pandemic, that happened. And I will say, you really didn't do it. It happened. You were just the fortunate beneficiary of what happened. Why aren't we looking at it and seeing how we adapted, how other people adapted to business? Why aren't we taking it and saying, what else can I do? I want the next wave. I'm going to make the next wave. But I see this in many, many industries, and it's talking to producers and manufacturers. Oh, you know, it's all just great. Everybody's making lots of money. No, not necessarily they are. But my aggravation is, why did we just let it be a wave and we're letting it come back to what it did? Let's do something different. Okay, so the postcard. Did I get everybody? And everybody a postcard? All right, so let me explain it. All my life, all I've done is study retail. When I first got asked to stand up and speak to a group of my fellow retailers, I studied ahead of time. I found that adults are not good students. Why aren't you good students? Because it's not what you do. You don't go to class, okay? It's not what we normally are going to be a part of. The average adult, if you don't do something with what you hear within, what is it, 72 hours? Yeah, 72 hours. Odds are you do nothing with it at all. The information comes, the information goes. All right, I like my classes to be different than somebody else's. I want you to go home. I want you to make money. I want you to try something with what I'm doing. So this is an experiment I do. It's worked fairly well over the years. I'm willing to make a small investment. It will stay small until the post office decides to charge more money again for what they're doing. Take the postcard on the back side. Take your pen, address it to yourself. Okay, you're not, only thing you're going to get is a postcard. I'm not calling you for anything, following up unless you ask me a question. You address it to yourself. On the other side, it says, when I get back to my business, this is what I want to do. You write down what you're going to do. Class is over. I want all the postcards back. I will hold on to them. Somewhere in the next 14 days, I will make my best attempt at reading your handwriting. Those of you, you know who you are. I pull out a pen. My pen writes with green ink. I use green not because it's the industry, because it's the color of money. And money is what we are here to talk about. And I will make a note, and I will attempt to be legible. I will cut out the postcard. I will go buy a stamp, which is now 60 some odd cents. Damn right. I mean, they were 3 cents at one point, 60 some odd cents. Don't you wish we could raise our prices like the post office does? I will buy a stamp and I will mail you the postcard. My part's over with at that point. It comes to you in the mail, you want to toss it? It's your business, not mine. But I hope it eats at you. I hope you see it. I hope you think about it. I have people who say, you know, I come to hear you speak every year, and I've got a whole collection of your postcards. And I go, look, this is not like baseball cards we're collecting. They're only valuable if you do something with it. Other than that, it's useless. But if I push you to do something, then my time here this morning has accomplished what I want to do. So, this is what concerns me about our industry. We take tours, and we go to garden centers, and we copy what other garden centers do. Now, I'm fine with the tour. I'm fine with the concept of tour. But why are we trying to copy another garden center? Why don't we go look at a clothing store? Why don't we go look at a bicycle shop? Okay, why don't we go look at somebody's totally different business and pick up an idea from them and do something with it? Because they're selling to the same people we are. And people don't have different mindsets. They don't like, well, I'm going into a clothing store, so I think this way. And when I walk into a garden center, I think this way. No, they got one train of thought. Look at somebody else's ideas. Here's my point. Who's unique? You can hardly tell a Home Depot from a Lowe's. It's the color of the counters. That's about the only difference. It's like light bulbs. They both carry the same brand of light bulbs. Come on, folks. Don't you have two buyers who can think differently of each other? When you look at what's happened to retailing over the years, it's a lack of thought. Sam is gone. J.C. Penney is gone. People who created businesses that grew because they thought on their own, and now we're relegated to a bunch of people who just go look at the competition and try to compete them. This is why we have chains, this is why we have that have closed, that's why we have malls with a lot of great vacancy. It's too much the same. It's like there's a ladies' clothing line called Free People, right? Ladies, Free People. Okay, was in a mall in Florida not too long ago. There was a Macy's, and the display right inside the front door was Free People clothing. I turned here and I'm looking at the front door of a store, Free People. Really? I could take a tennis ball and hit both of them easily. You couldn't at least move the display someplace else? You couldn't find another brand? Come on, doesn't make sense. So as I watch businesses and see what's going on, give me someone whose business is going great, and give me someone who's got a business that's got challenges. All right? If you were asking me as an observer and one who's looked at lots and lots of businesses, my concern is going to be for the person whose business has been what we've had in the last 3 years. That, to me, is the business that's more likely that's going to go out of business because they get sloppy. Think about your experience in the last 3 years. All the stuff that happened. What did we do? We concentrated on selling. We need something, yeah, buy some more of this, yeah, buy some more of this, buy some of that. It's like open to buys went out the window. Number of personnel, we're busy, hire somebody else if you can find them to come work here. We don't watch expenses. We don't watch margins. We're just running so busy with that cash register going cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. That's all we look at, nothing more. So I created a calculator. This is what it looks like. This one does not download. You got to use it on the website. Okay, it looks like this. There's 2 more that would be out here if I had a super wide screen. I would have here 2023 year to date, and if you look down the left side, you see that's your P&L. And then this one you can barely see. I want to see what you did in 2022, 2021, and 20. Now, the important numbers that you're going to look at are where you see the black zeros out kind of like an overlay by themselves. And that's percentage. As a percentage of sales, what's my cost of goods sold? My margin. As a percentage of sales, what am I spending on advertising, on occupancy, and payroll? And down here would be all the other expenses. As a percentage, what does this prove? A friend called me. She was from Georgia. She was so happy with last year. Look how much money I made. This was phenomenal. Look at all the money I made. I said, let me have your other financials. And I built this thing and did exactly that. And I said, it's bubble popping time for you. If over the 4 years you had maintained the highest level of margin, so you can do it, but you weren't consistent. It's ups and downs. When I look at what you pay for occupancy, like heating and cooling, the electric bill, and all the other expenses, your insurance and stuff like that, as a percentage of revenue, this is what it was. And the same thing for payroll, and the same thing for all your other expenses. If you could have put all of them together at the same time, the best margin, the lowest occupancy percentage, the lowest payroll percentage, if you could have done all those and got them to be your best, your profit that you're so proud of would be twice what it is. What am I saying? You're sloppy. You looked at a bottom line number and just happy that the dollar wasn't out there, but you didn't realize that it could have been twice as much if you had paid attention to the details. That's what the calculator does. Okay, camera people, you scan that QR code, that'll take you right to that calculator. Plug in your numbers, see how you did. It's a really awesome analysis of a business. How good am I at running a business? It's not the current year bottom line that matters the most. It's looking at everything as a whole. How am I doing? Oops, too quick. So, the second one is, so how are you doing at managing what you got there? If I were to magically wave a wand, take your business, come up with a number, here's the dollar amount and say, here's the cash. Walk away from the business. It's going to disappear. Here's the cash. Here's your investment in your business. And say, go do something else. You say, I'm going to retire and I'm going to go find an investment counselor. Would not be one of the first questions is, what's the rate of return you can get me? I mean, passive people tell you, go buy gold, and these people say, I guarantee you I'll give you 8%. But you talk to an investment counselor and say, invest this for me, and they tell you a number that this is their past history and what you could expect for what we call it the ROI, return on investment you have. Can you tell me what the ROI is in your garden center today? Do you know what it is? Do you know how to calculate it? Glad you asked. There it is. It's real simple. Punch in your numbers. Punch in your numbers on our website. All the little yellow squares. Here's what you want to look for. And then go, well, what if I could change things over here? So I teach a class. Maybe last year we could teach this class next year. I teach a class, say, let's go play with the ROI. What if I could diminish expenses? Okay, like if this were your garden center, would you have this room this cold? No, you'd kill an employee if it turned down the air conditioning to this temperature. All right, what about your margin? What if I could take and come to a trade show like I always did, and the things that I sold the most of, I bought them in like pallet size because I could get the best margin on it. What would that do to change the ROI? The biggest changer in ROI comes from watching right here. How fast you turn your inventory. And I asked the question in this class, how much dead inventory do you have? So I threw out a number and said, how about 15%? How many people think you got 15% of your inventory that's just sitting there? Now it gets late in the season and it's just sitting there not going away. What if you were to sell it off at cost, get rid of it, and buy something else that actually moved in your business? Here were the results. I started out with a business that was when I had an ROI of 19.77%, okay? There's no way in the market, legally, that you're going to get 19.77% in any investment out there, okay? No stockbroker will produce it. So I said, let's make the changes in regard to expense cost and improving the margin. 19.7 went to 26. And then I said, hey, what about when we got rid of dead inventory and bought stuff that actually sold? Not buy deeper in what we got, but buy other stuff, add new things to our business. 42% was the answer. 42% ROI. If that's the number your business can produce, why would you do anything else but be a retailer? That's incredible, and that's incredible returns. I mean, you can't get that in Vegas if you're that good at playing in Vegas. You know how to run the business. This is just learning how to do it better. Okay? That's the ROI calculator for camera people. That'll get you to go play with that one. And all you do is you look at, if I change this number, what will happen? And you look at what the ROI number is and go, I need to focus on this. I need to focus on controlling that expense, or I need to work on my margin, or I need to do something. There's even a factor that for those of us who have accounts receivable, how fast am I turning the receivables? What happens if I can make the receivables collect faster? That's what that'll do for you. See? Decisions in your business need to be with your numbers and nobody else's, so that you can see exactly what you change and where it's going to go. So let me prod you on with making some changes. An old expression, I think I created it. The average retailer does not read books. Okay, I don't mean John Grisham and Sue Grafton and Tom Clancy. I don't mean those folks. I mean like real books. The average retailer does not read books. Maybe that's why they're average. I right now am reading this book, Grit. Young lady's name is Duckworth. God, have you been reading it? Isn't that a cool book? I mean, ooh, I love this book. I'm not through with it. Maybe by the time I get home, I'll get that. Crazy is a compliment. Best practices are stupid. Chris Zane, reinventing the wheel. He's a bike shop. He sells more Trek bicycles than anybody in the world. And you look at the stuff that he does, it's just crazy stuff. And I have bicycle dealers who say, oh, you can't do that. And I say, here's my thought, my friend. You have a bike shop and you sell $800,000 worth of merchandise a year. He sells more truck than anybody in the world. Who do you think I'm going to listen to? You or him? Easy question. Originals. The Big Move. In the middle of Big Move, there's a chapter that's titled, They Say I'm Extreme. Whew. You want something that charges up. It's like drinking energy drinks after energy drink. They say that I'm extreme. It's a chapter in the middle of the Big Move. Another code for you. I keep a page on my site, over 200 small business books. I just find that they challenge you. It's much better than watching TV. They challenge you. I make you think about things and try things and wind you up, don't they? Cool books. Okay, so what's happened? Goods are in short supply. Well, cool. That helps. Well, no, I can't sell stuff. No, trust me, it can help. All right? Goods are in short supply. It's like someone who has a business and their sign says, if it's on hand, it's available. Yeah, I agree with that. Shortages mean I can have higher prices. Expenses are going up, right? Are we all experiencing expenses going up? Okay, why aren't we stretching our margins? Why aren't we adding 1, 2, 3 points in places? Stretch them. You easily accept price of gas goes up. You easily accept going to a restaurant and this is more expensive. And you go to buy clothes and they're more expensive. You see these things. Okay, why don't we stretch margins? 2 points, 3 points. Think what it would be in your business if we added 3 more points to the bottom line. Okay, the discussion about what we do solve in the industry is like live goods is cost times such and such, and hard goods is cost. Okay, that just needs to go away. That's a bad strategy for pricing anything in the garden center. It's a real simple one. How much can I get? How much can I get for this? That's all that matters. Okay? People not coming back to work. All right? Here's the problem. We hire people on an hourly wage. Why do they stand at the cash register? Because you're renting their time. I want them to sell stuff. Then pay them according to what they sell. I'm not saying we're going to change everybody to being on commission, but dangle incentives in front of them. I'd rather pay someone whatever in my community is the legal minimum. If it's $8, that's it. But I'm going to give you an opportunity to out-earn anybody else. Well, then, they're going to have to work to sell. Isn't that the concept? Or do you just want someone to ring a sale up? If that's the case, get rid of everybody and just make a self-service cash register. Amazon's trying it. Walmart does it. Walmart's got a store they're testing out right now. There is no help. Everything is self-service. I mean, if you're not going to have quality people selling, then why bother to have them? But if you dangle stuff in front of them, we did incentives with our staff. And I had this one guy, his name was Bob. I mean, I still talk to Bob. Bob's 85 years old today. He's just a neat guy. And in our staff meetings that we had every other week, I would take and hand out, here's the money that you have earned, not won, you earned it as incentives. And I'd go to each person and I would count out how much extra money you got. So I give you 25 bucks. You count, yeah, I got 25 bucks. Yeah, that's real good. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, and then just watching your smile go, well, how come she got that? Because she worked. She earned it. We would have competitions and contests, and every time we would do it, Bob would say, I won again. I go, yeah. And he says, I always win. I go, yeah, I know. And he goes, no, you're not understanding me. Every time, I always get more money than everybody else. And I go, I know. He says, I feel really bad about it. I said, you think you feel bad? When I dream up these competitions in business, every one, I start out with the intention, how do I beat Bob? My goal is to see you come in second place or worse. Okay, I am totally defeated. You are undefeated. I cannot figure out how to rig a game so that somebody else will win. He goes, hey, don't get me wrong, it's not like money's everything, but it is right up there next to air. Okay? And people walked in our place and said, I won't Bob wait on you. He just cleaned your wallet the other day. Yeah, but I won't Bob. Off pricing, sell pricing. It's not necessary at this point. It's do you have it? This is what matters. Do you have what's there? So who do I see watching these last 3 or 4 years? There's a group of people, I call them homers. Sometimes physically, every time mentally have shut down with what's going on. What is changing? You go to a McDonald's, they have a sticker on the window. 13 different forms of payment. How many do you take? You know what Samsung Pay is? You know what Apple Pay is? You know what Google Pay is? No, I'll tell you what, I take cash and I take the 4 credit cards and that's it. I can buy a hamburger and I have 13 options. Where's yours? Okay? Well, that's not how we do it. That's not right to do all that stuff. Yeah, well, kids are buying hamburgers that way. We're waiting to see what happens. They're still thinking that the pandemic's going on and waiting to see what's going to happen. And some of them literally just close the doors. My second group, I call them the plow hands. You know, I'm just going to bury my head. I'm going to do what we always did. This is the way we did it before, and things are going to be like it was in 2019. Hey, yeah, that was cool. I grew the last couple of years, and I sure appreciate it. Boy, I don't want people being sick, but I wish we'd have something that would come along that would bring me another big boom like that. And I'm going right back to doing what I always did. I send out direct mail flyers. I take and have newspaper ads. I buy radio ads. Hey, come to the garden center. We're opening up for the spring, and here's our special prices for this weekend. Because that's the way we did it before. We'll be okay. We'll get through this. Now, that's the plow hand. Here's my people. As we say down in the South, hold my beer, watch this. What can you dream up next? What can I possibly try? Well, no one does it like that. That's exactly why I'm doing it, because no one else will try this. This is crazy stuff. I can change the way this industry works. If you want to copy me, fine, but just realize you'll be behind me. Copy whatever I do, but you will be following me. I will still be the leader, and I will still be trying something different out there. They all do shop differently now. We all do what we do stuff, okay? We have differences in what we do with our necessities and our discretionaries. We see things very differently than what we did in the past. What I can do in my recreational time. So in the past 3 years, I did a lot of work in my yard. Well, yeah, but now movie theaters are open. What, you tell me you're going to concede defeat to a movie theater? Well, they can go do this now. Oh, you tell me you're going to concede defeat to that? So we won with people doing business with us because all the competition was shut down. I don't want a victory like that. I got you interested in your yard. I taught you how to enjoy your yard. I taught you how to party in your yard. I taught you how to do all these neat things. Okay, I'm not done yet. I'm going to keep changing things. I want to keep trying things. Little Rock, Arkansas. It's a La Quinta. On TV, you know, we're all sitting at home watching TV. Here's what they were advertising. Now think back, March 2020. It was quick, world shut down. Hey, in our commercial, we have meeting rooms available. If you're having meeting rooms, you can rent it from us. And if your people are coming for the meeting and need to stay overnight, we got hotel rooms. And you know what? When they get up the next morning, we got a breakfast buffet. Really? Isn't that all the stuff we just avoided? And for a year, they ran that same commercial over and over. And I'm thinking, what person is not thinking here? Someone at the TV station or someone at the hotel, and you're just writing the checks to pay for these stupid ads that no one can respond to? March 2021, here's what they did. They gutted the rooms and turned them into offices. Okay? Because there are so many people we found out that can't function unless they go to where they work. So they said, here, you can have your own private room. You don't have to be around anybody. And since we've got the restaurant, okay, you don't come down and eat. Okay, we're like takeout. We'll bring the food to you. And we've already got internet there, and we've already got phone lines there. You got everything you need. Why did it take me a year to figure it out? St. Petersburg, Florida. Here was a guy who had a high-end cabinet shop. Lots and lots of high-end stuff. And I walked in the place one day and I said, I'm looking for a faucet. Do you have faucets? Now this was set because I knew he did. No, I don't sell faucets. Where would you send me, sir? Down the street, there's a Home Depot and Lowe's. And I said, are you kidding me? Okay, these aren't corrugated cardboard, and this ain't common stuff. Okay, I mean, we're talking about thousands and thousands of dollars for every single cabinet. And I said, sir, the finest faucet at Home Depot or Lowe's, you know, $400, would be embarrassed to be on this deck. It's like having a Maserati and putting used tires on it. It doesn't work. How about it? Well, you know, I had people walking in the door asking me about faucets. You know, I just want to beat his head against the wall. Hello? Your customers are asking you for it. Why aren't you responding? They don't send you a commission from Home Depot or Lowe's. Why aren't you responding? In our business, what else could we sell? I was telling a group of people over here earlier. Pacific Northwest people in our industry sell plants. They love their plants. Why? Because they went to college and got a degree on horticulture. Okay, I can't spell horticulture. But that's all they sell is plants. And I go, why don't you sell shovels, rakes, and hoes, and garden hoses, and nozzles, and sprinklers, and maybe an irrigation system, and all this other stuff? Well, no, so you say, I'm a horticulturalist. Do you think that matters to the customer? You're a retailer. I said, well, we can't sell the stuff like that like Home Depot has. We can't sell it as cheap as they can. I go, you can't sell anything. Yeah, but see, our plants are different. Our plants are better, and there's no argument. But who's going to show up that you're going to tell the story to? Who's going to hear that if they're not coming because everything else is available someplace else? You know, you can't work it that way. You read these two books? Put them on your list. Blue Ocean Strategy, Blue Ocean Shift. Competition becomes irrelevant because you do not allow the rules of the game to apply to you and your business. You're going to think differently. You're going to think no one else is going to do. The basis. A unique concept for something new and different traditionally happens within something that's already there. It's not like a brand new store pop-up. It's something that's already there. All right? What do we sell? I sell knowledge. I sell convenience. Well, not in Pacific Northwest, they don't, because they don't have all the stuff. Okay? He who becomes a commodity last in our industry is going to be the winner. He who becomes a commodity is selling according to price. I don't want to play that game. Not for me. 108 companies were studied in their books. 86% of the launches of extensions of the business were simply something that they added on to what they were already doing. 14% of the launches were blue. Okay, now what's the difference in blue and red? Okay, Ace Hardware is the most incredible example. So is True Value and Do It Best. See, we don't go out and build new stores. We just go steal them from somebody else. The Ace people go out on the road, and True Value does the same thing and Do It Best. Same thing. Knock on the door. Hey, you're a Home Depot. You're an Ace. Would you like to come be a True Value store? Hey, no. Would you like to be a Do It Best store? That's red. It's stealing from somebody else. It's not let's build the industry. It's like let's just go pick somebody off from somebody else. That's blue ocean, red ocean strategies. This stuff is blue ocean strategies. Which I will give credit, by the way. Ace is truly one that beat the hell out of True Value. There's no argument there. No argument in the marketplace that they didn't take it and win the battle. Blue produces 38% of the company's revenue, but 61% of the profits come from doing something that you can see a relationship to and doing something unique. Walmart, when Walmart added groceries, people said it would never work because you can sell towels and you can sell clothes and they'll sit there forever. But bananas is different and milk is different. Okay, in less than 5 years, over half of Walmart's volume came out of the grocery department. Plus, during the pandemic, they didn't have to close. Why? Because they're an essential store, because they have groceries. Dunkin' is not Dunkin' Donuts. They're Dunkin'. Look at all that what they're expanding to. Okay? Domino's, they're not Domino's Pizza. They're now just Domino's. What else could they possibly add to it? Dyson, when the pandemic started, and they said there's not enough ventilators to take care of people in the hospital. In 14 days, Dyson rolled out a ventilator. hospital. Why? What does Dyson do? No, they don't sell vacuum cleaners. Dyson knows how to move air. That's their thing, moving air. And you go, oh, I get the connection, moving air. It's a ventilator, it's a vacuum cleaner. You know, one blows, one sucks. It's just the movement of air, knowing how to do it. Netflix. Netflix was floundering. And they went to the people who owned Blockbuster, and they said, we have $50 million tied up in Netflix. We're not going anywhere. We're available for sale. Would you pay us $50 million and we'll get out? And the founder of Netflix says, they laughed us out of the room. They laughed us out of the room. Okay, anybody remember Blockbuster? Okay, ready for this? I checked it last night. Business valuation of Netflix, $194 billion. And you could have bought it for $50 million. Yeah, who's laughing now? Okay, that's the concept. It's expanding to new areas, it's using technology different, doing something unique and different. Restaurants, a friend of mine in a restaurant, he added consumables. During the pandemic, someone I know took their appliances, strapped them to pallets, and rolled them out on their parking lot every day, because you couldn't come in the store to shop, so you can stand out on my parking lot, and here's every item I've got. It's on a pallet. End of the day, we just roll the stuff back into the building and start again the next day. This was a Burger King. You couldn't go to barbershops, so the guy rents the Burger King, he's inside, he's cutting hair, and you're sitting on a stool outside. See, you're laughing, but don't you look at it and go, God, that's brilliant. That is sharp. That is so sharp. Okay? Couple, mobile floor, rented a trailer, miniature version of their carpet store. They pull up with the truck and they park in your driveway. Hey, do you have this in green? They disconnect the truck, they go back to the store and pick it up and come back. Well, if the customer leaves, they can't because your trailer's in the driveway. Brilliant, brilliant. If you are easy to do business with, it's easy to expand. Okay? This is a place in Russellville, Arkansas. It's called Cars. First time I saw it, come across it, it says car, and I'm thinking, okay, power equipment, lawnmower, string trimmers, chainsaws, all that stuff. Okay? We sold it at our place. What? Well, if I sold you the grass, like in Florida, I sold you the St. Augustine grass place, it's going to grow. I should sell you the lawnmower to cut it, right? And that makes sense to me. All right? When you're a garden center, no, this is what I do. I'm taking care of the customer. But all the stuff that they've got, disc golf, bicycles, they're a truck dealership, all the hiking gear, power equipment, grills, they don't have garden hoses, they don't have shovels, rakes, and hoes. They have plenty of space on the side. They can take and start to sell plants. Well, wait a minute, what the crap has that got to do with all this? They know who the customers. They're focusing on who the customer is, not what they sell. Who's your customer? Now I think of the different things and stuff that they want to do and they enjoy. I'm going to focus the business on this person, not on this merchandise. It's not, well, this is what a hardware store should look like. No, you change, okay. So, being in the South, people walked into my store, which I was part of, had hardware as well, and they were carrying 2.5-gallon yellow, what look like gas cans, except for plastic. Anybody know what's in those things? Sold used all around the country. Sodium hypochlorite. It's what goes in a pool. It's bleach. It's your Clorox, double strength. And people kept walking in our place saying, hey, this is what I need. It took us 2 years to get licensed to the federal government. Well, what in the world is a hardware person and a garden center doing with pool stuff? Behind my store was a tank that they had to install. Big tall thing. 750 gallons. Twice a week they came and filled it. The average customer came in with 2 of these containers, that's 5 gallons. Do the math. Twice a week, that's 1,500 gallons. 5 gallons at a time. How many customers did that each week walk into my place to buy something?
300.
Anybody got a newspaper ad you think you can pull and get 300 people? Anybody think you got a sales flyer you can get 300 people? They're coming just for that. Now, what I later found out, you know what, that's not the #1 item. That's the loss leader. And then I got to add the pool pumps and all the parts, the O-rings and all this other stuff. and all the other chemicals that they want to have with their pool. Why? Well, it just kept growing. Why? Because they came asking for something, and I'm going to have what they're asking for. What else can I sell to these outdoor people? I mean, there's some weird combinations I see across the country. It's like, how does this go with this? I mean, there's a magazine, Guns and Garden. Anybody seen it? Yes. I don't get the connection, but okay. You know, if my backyard's big enough, we're going to set up a shooting range, whatever it takes. Well, you know, so here's my thought. The biggest room that anyone has in their home is outdoors. What all could I sell? What all could I do? I always contended that when they were a decent entity, after Sears bought Kmart, the biggest asset they had was not being Sears, it was the Kmart buildings. That should have been the most gigantic outdoor living store that existed. You get a hardware store there, you get a garden center in there, you get a pool store in there, you have patio furniture, you have all this stuff. You can do landscaping and hardscaping. You know, there's people who build grills in people's backyard, and they're $35,000 to put together the grill. You know, we're content for selling a Weber grill for $1,000. 35 grand for some of these beautiful stone grills out there. And it's like, God, they're incredibly gorgeous. I don't have $35,000 for them, but somebody does. I'd rather be the one that sells it to them. How about offering this? We have people doing this, and they get the Chamber of Commerce involved, and they do contests. Who does the best job of yard decorating? The thing is, it's not a Christmas thing. It's an any time of the year thing. All you got to do is connect yourself with someone who sells round bales of hay. Okay, and if you don't sell spray paint, well, now's the time. I have seen in our area bales of hay that have grown up just because there's so many coats of paint on this, keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. But you can work with the Chamber of Commerce and have competition and give prizes to people. Okay? London, England. There is a person who does not sell Christmas trees, they rent Christmas trees. Listen to this one. You rent the tree and it's planted and they deliver it to your house, or you can come to their place and pick it up. At the end of Christmas, they will come to your house, or you can take it to them, 2 different prices, and it goes back and they nurture it for another year. If you're one of those people who say, that was neat, can I have the same tree? Yes. Next year? Yes, you can. We'll mark it with your name on it. You can have the tree next year. And we will rent this tree to you, I think it's 5 or 6 years. And at that point, it's going out to nature and it's going to be planted somewhere. Now, I told this story to a group of people in garden centers in Vancouver 2 weeks ago. The guy said, nah, he says, I can sell them trees for less. And I go, you're totally missing the point. This is not about selling cheap. It's someone says, I like that. I like that idea. Okay? And someone will probably say, I've got a piece of land here. Can I buy the tree after it's been rented all these years? And can I keep it? You know, there's a sentiment to it. And this guy's sitting there thinking, no, I can sell cut trees cheaper because I can buy them from somebody in Michigan or Wisconsin or whatever. And I go, dude, quit trying to think for the customer. Okay? If the customer will go for this, by all means, and you are renting the tree to them every year. You know, it's like I rent it to you and I get the product back, only next year it's bigger and the price goes up every year. I think it's a sharp idea. See, if I do this and I sign you on, I've got you as a Christmas tree customer for 5, 6, 7 years. If I sell you a Christmas tree, the next year I'm competing against Home Depot or Lowe's with that bunch of stuff they have laid out in front of their place. Right? That's the difference. Thinking of something different. Well, no one does that. Gosh, that's like the best reason why to do it. Right? How about if we took the garden center to the customer and said, come look at our plants? Well, we made appointments and went to their house and showed them, here's the plant material I got. We can sit here comfortable in your living room. It's hot out here in August. We can come to your living room and sit down. I can show you all this, and this is what it looks like now. And this one is nurtured. This is what it's going to look like next year and the following year. Right? I can do that strictly off the laptop. It'd be that easy to take care of it. Sales made, I'm right there at home. I can walk out in your yard. We can look at it. I'll measure the yard for you, tell you exactly how many plants you need. I'll ask you the question, well, am I going to get 1 gallon or 3 gallon material? Okay, well, how tall do you want it to be? How quick do you want this to grow? You know, some of us who have hair color at this point aren't looking at lifetime guarantees, and lifetime guarantee ain't exactly that long. You know, when do you want this to look just right? I can do that with you. All right? Landscapers. Landscaper tune-up. You had someone landscape your yard, how about after 6 months? I'll offer a service that I'll come and tune it up, keep it looking good. Because every landscaper shows a picture like 5 minutes after they're done. What's it look like 6 months after they're done? Well, this is getting a little out of control, a little while too. We offer a service that will come and tune it up, we'll spruce it up, we'll fix it up for you. Okay, maybe I should add maintenance to what I'm doing. You know, how far can it go? You know, because when you look at it, really, there's only so many hammers I can sell. At some point, I gotta have something else to grow my business. And my customer has all these things that they're interested in buying. Now, here's my word of caution. You add a new category, you add a new something to what you're doing. Like say, the pool stuff. That worked pretty good for us. But considering we were in Florida and swimming in the pool year round, you know, you may be having a pool in the summer and an ice rink in the winter. You're adding something new. I'm suggesting you take your income statement and break it up into sections. Not like my friend in Wyoming who can't figure out what the problem is. If I were to take my financial statement and break it up into pieces, then I know, is this making the money I want? And if it's occupying square footage in my building, then I'm going to do a quick analysis. What's the revenue this one is producing per square foot? What's the revenue this is producing per square foot? And for example, in our store, because I did not have additional space, we did have all the patio furniture. And after 3 years, we got rid of it. Because setting up really nice, I mean, God, they're nice sales for $3,000, $4,000 a sale. They took too much square footage. I could sell paint. I could sell pallets of fertilizer. And because I would turn so much more of it as compared to making $5,000 sale on patio furniture. So patio furniture went away. You need to be able to measure it and know, is it producing? And if you add something, if it completely flops, you know, get rid of it. That's why my dad told me I should be the next generation in retail. He says, here's the thing, son, you make a mistake. He says, if you make a mistake in retail and you figure it out quick enough, you just sell the stuff off and you can usually get your money back out of it, sell it at cost, and all you've lost is some time. And then you go find something else to put in its place. But one of the hardest challenges retailers have is making the confession that, you know what, this doesn't work. Well, I should buy it. I mean, I'm a buyer. I can't make mistakes in buying. Yeah, you can. If you're not making mistakes, you're not trying enough. You gotta have some failures in there somewhere. My bottom line question is looking at it 4 years ago and looking at it today and saying, how much does your business look like it did 4 years ago? Why? Because the customer has changed so much. There's so many different opportunities and things that we can try with our customer, whatever it is that we do, that there's additional sales there instead of just pining to be back at a 2019 type of business. If I'm sending you your postcard, help me not have this issue, and that is someone always leaves me this really awesome card with all the things they're going to do, and this side is blank. And then they wrote an email on there, and I can't read your handwriting for the email, so I have no way of getting hold of you. Just check and make sure if you're using the postcard, do that side. My summation comes from Will Rogers. True? So, when you leave, it's time to go to the show, because it's opening right now. Give me a few minutes to shut this stuff down. I will be in the area over on the far side of the show. Okay, for questions and answers and discussion. Just give me a few minutes to shut this down, because that's sit down and talk to anybody and everybody individually about stuff. With that being said, thanks for coming this morning. I hope it prompted you with some thoughts.